So I'm going to start the meeting because we have two working guys over here that always have a lot to do, but they always are very nice when they come here, so I guess it hadn't hit you too hard today, right? Okay, first of all, how about if our Sergeant Daniel Smith comes up and he can give you the sheriff's report for this past month?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sergeant Smith, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. I don't know if everybody knows me, but I am the sergeant of our community policing unit here on Siesta Key. And I have the overview of Siesta Key from October 1st through the 31st, 2023. From October 1st through the 31st, there were 229 calls for service on Siesta Key. 13 incidents, or 6% of the total, were persons or property crimes classified by the FBI. Those were 1 assault, aggravated assault, 2 simple assaults, 1 auto theft, 1 criminal mischief, which was felony, 1 follow, harass, cyber stalk another, 5 vehicle burglaries, 1 grand larceny from a building, and 1 wire fraud, computer email fraud. The most commonly reported incidents were vehicle burglaries. 4 of the vehicles were left unlocked and had items stolen. The last one had its window smashed, and that's how they gained entry to the last one. But most vehicle burglaries that take place are unlocked vehicles. Excuse me. So I say it every time I come to the meetings, just make sure that you're locking your vehicles, lock it always. And if you have items of value inside the car, just try to put them in the trunk or put them somewhere that they're not visible from the outside, and it's not inviting for any sort of criminal activity. The auto theft was a rental vehicle that was reported. It is unknown if the vehicle was left unsecured or not. In the criminal mischief incident, mangroves were cut. Of the 3 reported assault incidents, 1 was a domestic violence and an arrest was made. The remaining 2 incidents occurred between subjects unknown to each other after words were exchanged between parties. 1 theft was reported and involved items that were removed from a residence by known suspects. I'll touch real quick on the wire fraud. I don't have any particulars on that case, but if anybody emails you soliciting information, DirecTV, whoever, that says follow this link and enter your password, never do that. Always go straight to the website yourself and then enter the website in, say it's DirecTV or whatever it may be. Go to the website yourself, DirecTV, log in from the website, not really clicking on links from emails, because sometimes those emails look very official, but they're not. So me personally, I don't trust any links that are sent to me in emails asking me to change my password or there's a problem with my account or anything like that. So always just try to verify it from the original source before you enter any passwords or personal information to anybody over the internet. And that's the report. Does anybody have any questions or anything like that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you tell us more about the mangrove cutting? Was it a lot or little?
I have no other information than that.
Do you know enough about the requirements to know what's allowable and what's not?
So there are some changes in the mangrove law, and I'm not 100% familiar on them. I'd have to research it just to make sure I'm providing the correct information. But I do believe if there are mangroves on your property, there's a certain percentage that you're allowed to trim or maintain, but I don't know the exact figures or anything like that. I would have to research that in the law to make sure I'm giving the appropriate information.
But you got called to enforce the regulation? We
didn't personally, so I assume it was one of our patrol deputies that responded and took that report. Other than what's listed here, I don't have any information. It wasn't one of my personnel that took this report.
Thanks.
One really good piece of information is our county has jurisdiction to enforce the state law regulations, because you can't get anybody from the DEP that fast, really. And we have a good staff, so if they call the county staff to report it, that 311 app you can report things like that too, and they will come and look at it. And I think that, I've also heard that some builders recently took out a fair amount of some black mangroves along Canal Road, which completely wiped out a fair amount of screening for several homes along there. And I don't know what the permit issue was, or if they even had one, but it was enough to cause somebody to relocate, move, sell their home. And it was
That's
that
unfortunate.
bad. So, you know, it's a pretty serious thing, because they do filter the water, and we're trying so hard to keep the canals improved. You know, that's one of the big.
Yeah, as far as I know, all the mangroves are protected, but like I said, if they're on your personal property, there's a certain amount of them that you're able to trim, but I don't know what amount or what figures or what you would have to do to accomplish that. I'd have to research it better.
Did you have, I didn't notice any deputies at Halloween, by Siesta Cove. Did you have any deputies in that area?
There were some detail deputies out here. I'm not exactly sure where those details were.
Well, I used to live there, and we walked over there from our neighborhood, and there's like 2,500 people walking up, cars were parked all up and down in that.
I believe there were detail deputies.
They would have lights on, so people were aware and would slow down. But cars were flying by there, and there were families and kids. And
yeah, I'd have to check on that to see if there was a detail deputy that was. Yeah, I thought so.
I was down from the Regal Landing side, and I didn't see anything. So maybe up across.
Oh, it was up. They had a deputy there with lights on at the church. Walking people, stopping traffic, walking people across.
I didn't make the curve. I was looking from this way down, and there was nothing. Okay, thanks.
Cool.
I have a question. Has anyone called to report in serious, and I'm using their terms, because I've not witnessed it, but I trust the person who called, drag racing along Ocean Boulevard, past Sandy Cove, where that area is as it goes around, intersects with Feigl, but they said around 1 to 2 in the morning, they've had 100 to 80 mile an hour speeding of people literally using both lanes and going extremely, and they said this is what the speed was, and the person who reported, I would trust that that was accurate. I wouldn't know just anybody to say that, they didn't really mean it, because they don't ever call about anything. And they're one of the people that met with the sheriff about 2 years ago with the rest of us.
You said Sandy Cove?
Yeah, Sandy Cove is the entrance off of that road, and that's where,
I can put a
sergeant's report up there now.
patrol request on our internal
that might be a good
documentation.
observation.
And I can pass it on to
Yeah.
my evening shift guys and the night shift guys on patrol.
That's what they were hoping. That
What
someone
time
would
did you
just-
say?
It was usually about 1 to 2 a.m.
Okay.
So after a lot of places
I
are
have a
closing.
phone off, yeah.
And it's kind of scary, and it's happened more than one time. They wouldn't have told me otherwise, I think.
Yeah.
That maybe that would be a great observation area.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to my 2 night guys and the patrol guys that work the area at night and see if they can get around that area at that time.
Super.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Have you had anybody complaining about the free ride services and their
Golf cart or?
golf carts, the frog hop? Not necessarily, just kind of pulling out in front of people, or?
Yeah, we've stopped a few recently, and reiterated the rules of the road and the laws and things like that, and that they still need to follow those rules. Nothing in particular's come my way about anything large scale or anything like that.
I've been, because I'm constantly driving up and down the island.
Yeah.
I've been witnessing a lot of it. I haven't called to report it.
Yeah, when we see it and when, on the 4-wheelers and things like that, when we're riding, most of the time traffic violations, unless we're heading somewhere or going to a call, we'll stop them and re-educate them on the rules of the road and what you can and can't do driving a golf cart. So, but nothing's come my way that's
Actually, the worst
rampant.
of it has been the vans. That's what I'm seeing most of it. It's just darting out in front of people, or just not using their turn signal.
Yeah. Yeah, and with those bigger vehicles, it's been addressed in the past before where we've made contact with them and done the same thing. So maybe it's time to make a friendly reminder of, you know, right of way and the rules of the road and what you should be doing, yeah. I'm seeing it a bit with the trolley as well. So the trolley is, you know, as far as I understand the trolley, it's supposed to stop at the scat bus stops unless you're south of, south of the Stickney Point Bridge. But I've seen a lot more often they're stopping north anywhere. So I don't know if that's something that's changed with the trolley that you know of, or?
No. I know that people have asked for service that way, but I think they have to have dedicated.
The stops north,
exactly,
yeah,
right.
and that was what I found in my research as well.
And I think that's part of what the free ride services are doing, is they're filling in those gaps. So when they see a crowd of people, they'll just pull over, and they don't, they just kind of.
Yeah, which.
And I've seen it enough to.
Which is kind of a balance on that. They do transport people around, so there's less traffic, less foot traffic. So there's kind of a balance on that of, you know, they're pulling over. A lot of times they'll pull over on the sidewalk, which we don't want. But if they're pulling off the road into a side street or something like that to pick up, that would be preferred versus just kind of pulling over on the sidewalk or blocking the sidewalk or the bicycle lane and things like that. But there is that kind of balance where they are helping the island reduce traffic by a lot of the pedestrians and ride sharing and things like that. So, but we do constant education and reminders of those rules and what's appropriate and not.
Not a complaint, but what rules do these electric bikes fall under these days?
Bicycles. So if they have pedals, they fall under the state law as a bicycle, and they have all rights and privileges as a bicycle.
So they go down the sidewalk and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So under the state statute for sidewalks, that still has listed in there, as far as I'm aware, that it's nothing should be on the sidewalk that's not under human power. But it also used to be in the bicycle side of the state statutes, where I think that's been removed. So I think some laws are going to have to catch up with the e-bikes and how fast they go. I've seen some of them driving down the road at, you know, 30, 40 miles per hour. That's fast. So I think some of those things are going to have to catch up with the regulations on e-bikes with the technology and how fast these can go now. But as far as pedal e-bicycles, they are afforded all rights that a bicycle would be afforded. So it can go anywhere a bicycle can.
Years ago, there used to be a rule that if you were pedaling a bicycle on a pedestrian area, like a broad sidewalk, you had to have a bell to signal the people ahead of you that you were coming up behind them. Do they still have anything about that?
I don't think so. That would fall under the bicycle statute.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that being a subsection in there anymore. So
They need a horn on the.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they do move fast. So I think state statutes and county ordinances and things like that will catch up eventually, and they might put some stricter regulations on those, especially with how fast they can go now and the technology that's in some of those e-bikes. But as of right now, they're deemed a bicycle. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. And next we have a wonderful code enforcement officer. I've been giving your name out to people, and I hope you don't mind. We have many things that you're helping with. This is Bern Pisaturo, who's joined us this past year and has a lot of years in his field as an officer, and we're really glad to have you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's see, the report we had for October. We had 2 cases reported of short-term rentals. Investigation showed that they ended up being in compliance. Those will probably pick up as we go along. Push-in signs around the key, there were 41 collected. The push-in signs in the right-of-ways are illegal, so we go around and pick them up. Our sound and noise investigations, our night crew goes out to the bars and restaurants, and they measure the amplified sound of, like, the Daiquiri Deck, the Oyster Bar, Siesta Key Oyster Bar, Crescent Club, and Captain Kirk's. They have been in compliance, so those cases are closed, but we still continue to monitor and receive, any complaints that people may hear of excessive noise. We'll go back out there. We also had a complaint of occupants residing in a recreational vehicle on residential single-family property. That's not allowed by code except for states of emergency. They was apparently living there in the evening, so again, I sent my night crew out there for 2 weeks to monitor, and they did not observe anyone living inside the RV, which was good. And that's about it. Any questions? Yes?
Is there anything about noise from boats? Some of them just blare their radios. Do they have any regulations or any slowdown areas, because they really zoom by?
Well, they do have low wake areas and designated parts where they're supposed to, but that was,
They've
sure.
taken away some of those no wake signs, and they just zoom right by, even if it's a bayou that's going right out into the bay.
That would be a good question to contact Sarasota County Environmental. They handle like the Marine Park District and the WNAC and all that area of and they could answer that question. As far as radios, I think probably the Sheriff's Office, the Marine Patrol would handle that part.
Sometimes they go out on the sandbar and just blare their music.
Yeah, if they have a Marine Patrol down here, the Sheriff's Office, they can go out there and check that out.
It's really tough. I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't live right on a canal, but I live between two with houses, on either side. And I can hear people coming. I think they're out right in front of the house, but they're actually on a canal making their way out.
Yeah.
And there's just huge amounts, clear as a bell. Radios talking, lots of amplified music, and it bounces between the homes. I think it's very loud. That is a good question.
Yeah, and I think
for the sheriff.
I think that would be good for the Sheriff's Office, because if we went out there with our sound meters, we have to give a 7-day notice, and they're gone, so. It's a 7-day courtesy notice, and, they're only there for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So they automatically become compliant when they leave,
What is the county ordinance in regards to real estate signs? How many can be in front of a house? Where can they be?
Real estate signs
Can you repeat the question, please?
The question was, where can real estate signs be placed? They can be placed in the right-of-way. The only thing that they can't do, and I had a couple of instances with that here on the key, they can't block the view of oncoming vehicular traffic or pedestrian traffic. If you get to an intersection and the sign is, too close to the road and it's blocking view of the lane and you can't see if cars are coming, contact code enforcement. We'll go out there and have the realtor push the sign back. And I've had that happen a few times, and the real estate company moved the sign back without a problem. Because they have a sign crew going out there who just puts them out. And so I contact the realtor on the sign or the company and have them move it back.
So there is no regulation on the number of signs you can put out, or even for open houses?
Well, the push-in signs for open houses in the right-of-way, those are not, that's a violation. Personally, I know that they're only gonna be there for a few hours, so I don't take them. I know that when we do take them, the realtor calls up and says, I want my sign, and we have to hold the signs for 10 days and return them. So when it comes to, now if the real estate sign is there past, now I have my real estate license, so I know how long they should be out, because I've sold real estate here. And so if they're out beyond the 4 or 5 hours that I see them, or the next day, then I'll take them. And then they usually call and I give them back.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah,
Not even.
Just a friend?
No, actually, I did want to clarify because
yeah.
sometimes you do things and you think you're doing it right, but you aren't, and you don't know it.
Yeah, like I said, technically, you know, I know that the push-in open house signs, they'll put a few down the road to guide people. And because that's not an ongoing thing, I kind of leave them there for that amount of time, and more often than not, they're retrieved by because they cost money, they buy them, so.
Thank you.
You know,
Anyone else? Great, thank you so much.